Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday's Market Outlook here at Top Gun Options. Really excited for today. We kick off our full throttle training tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern with a welcome aboard brief. All of our stuff this week is open to the public, our live trading and training. It's all on me. All you have to do is head to go.topgunoptions.com/FT and you can register to join us for all of our live trade briefs this week. Had a great week last week. Appreciate all my members' flexibility. Had a great time up in Vermont with my son. Great fall day football game. He played the lights out hockey game. Very proud of my boy. So had a great parents weekend. Again, thanks for the flexibility. Of course, if I'm out of town, something big is going to happen. So obviously the rip through the 50-day moving average here, this thing's going to fade. This whole phase one trade deal, meet again before we sign it. It's a clown car, folks. But as I predicted, by October 11th, something was going to happen again in the Gulf. And Friday, that happened. Iranian oil tankers oil tanker was hit near the Saudi coast by missiles. This kind of faded relatively quickly from the headlines. But just because we're not talking about it doesn't mean it's not a big deal, right? The market only cares when it cares. Right now, it kind of ain't caring about this. We're just paying attention to trade and what's going on, closest alligator to the boat. But we got to keep an eye on this because something big is going to happen this month. So I'm saying again, Iran's going to do something bigger. And I thought they were maybe a little false flagging it right there to as an excuse to attack Saudi Arabia again. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. But this trade, it more or less was a little bit of a farm package. It isn't a trade deal, and the whole phase one thing just kind of is stupid. So they want another round of talks before they sign the quote phase one. I saw Mnuchin on CNBC today. He kind of looked like clownish. So very uncertain. Sent out an FXI bear call spread to my weekly options folks. We're going to do a joint brief this afternoon at 1, our solo Amazon and our weekly options folks. But I sent out a text and an email, the 41.5, 42 bear call spread, risking about 54 to make $2,100. We've been printing money with our FXI and volatility trades. Let's take a look at FXI. It's the iShares China large cap ETF. Big pop on the quote good news, and then this thing's going to fade. Almost even thinking about a bearish double vertical or a burner trade to the downside here. I just don't see any positive out of this. Might get maybe a positive out of Brexit this week, but that really hasn't been moving the stock market all around so much. But don't expect a risk-on rally to be sustained on any short-term deal. So the president more or less did what he said he wasn't going to do for 19 months, which was accept a piecemeal deal, a partial deal, or I get that he can frame it as, hey, these are all steps along the way type of stuff. But the guy was beaten, I think he set a record the other day, like 56 tweets in a day. But, of course, he's trying to put lipstick on a pig and say everything's great. Look at that, lower highs and lower lows, man. We're heading back to this 50-day moving average. We're in October. We're getting ready for earnings season, kicking off in earnest next week. We got a Fed meeting coming up where, hey man, if all this macroeconomic data are great, the jobs numbers, and we had kind of 2-week ISM prints here, but more than made up with some good macro data, and it looks like we have a little bit of stability. Well, I use that word liberally here, stability in the China trade talks. So is the Fed going to cut rates? So we're swinging from kind of big news event to big news event, and that's never good for this market. So we're going to trade the hell out of this. You saw that big spike on Friday, and then it faded into the close. I think we gave up like 200 points on the Dow into the close. So I'm selling into this, sell the rips, and look out and get bearish on the dips is my plan going forward. But we're going to talk about this all week. Like I said, we're free this week. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT to register. We're going to limit this, as I said, to 1,000 people. Once we hit 1,000, which we should today, we're going to close the doors so you can't register, okay? So usually we have thousands of people registering for this, but I'm going to limit it because it kind of the quality suffers when I got 500 people chatting in the text box there. So if you're really motivated, you want to check out what we do here at Top Gun Options, I strongly recommend you register now before we close the doors. Okay, I got to get going. Also sent out a solo Amazon trade. I sent out a text and email alert on Amazon looking at a bear call spread up here at the 1750. I think this thing fades as well. Okay, all right, I got to get going. Busy week, busy day ahead, so make sure you join us for our Full Throttle. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll see you tonight if you're not a member.